Hello everyone, Krydax here, and welcome back to pYanodon's Season 3. We're picking up right where we left off with our giant AUG facility, which is gonna take a little bit of work here. We probably need to go get a few more barrels, and then we'll finish up figuring out the rest of this. We need to set up our fluorospolinen and biomass recycler. We need to figure out, make sure all the outputs are working correctly. Gosh, these take forever to unload. There's not much I can do about that. Why is this so slow? Or not running at all? Small parts. The small parts train is behind it. Okay, so we should be okay. Are these requests not big enough for buffers? Might not be. Let's go to 28 stacks of small parts. No reason not to. Bump those numbers up a bit. And then, okay, so I needed to go back to base for something. I already forgot what it was. Why are we going back to the base? Oh, barrels. That's right. That's right. Oh man, we are in such a fun season of pyanodons. I don't know how you guys are feeling, you know, because we're not working towards like red circuits or something, but just the future is bright, it feels like. And it's just so awesome to be able to add stuff from map view, and our trains are flying around and being efficient with things, and it's feeling really good. Being able to add more of everything on trains, and feel like once we get it rolling, everything feels infinite in a way, you know, because ore patches are kind of infinite. I don't know. It's pretty great. All right, let's grab, since I'm here, I'll grab more belts. But I probably am gonna stop coming here for stuff soon. At some point we need to figure out the final, what do we need to get rid of, you know, or what do we need to build in the auto mall so that I never have to come here again? And there's probably 10 items or so. And once we've done those 10 items, we can just go to the auto mall for all of our needs. And that's gonna be great. All right. So in this episode, what are we working towards? Probably batteries next? Yeah, probably batteries. Right now we're just finishing this up. We do need the biomass on a belt. Yeah, let's get all these barrels plugged in. So here. That should be enough. Yeah, I think that'll be enough to get everything buffered. And then, what have I not done? We need barrels for the inserters. Now AUG pups are running. That should get those guys running. Okay, sweet. So that's good. And then liquid manure happens in bioreactor. And I'm gonna run 2 of them, which I know it's unfortunate. I was hoping our bot network would have it, but it doesn't. So we're gonna need to order one. Do bioreactor. You know, we should have those. Be like in the incubator. Bioreactor. Let's say 4. Now that's a problem. Now I'm just confused. It's claiming we have bioreactors, But that's claiming we're missing the material for construction. Oh. Does that fix it? Yeah, it's the lighter color now. Okay. It had looked like, oh, it's because of my personal bots. That's what it is. I thought it was in the green zone, but it wasn't. Okay, there we go. Anyway, all this excess manure comes along and gets fed into these guys. Okay, this is too many. Let's do a long, big power pole there. And then we need some water, pretty small amount. We'll get one of these plopped down. Where's the bot? Oh, it's a long way away. That's the pump check one. Where's the bioreactor one? I don't even see it. Where's the bot with the bioreactor? I guess it's here. Okay, it's coming. He's a-coming. And then we need the reformer, and then some heat exchangers. Let's do this a little bit out of the way. Up here, maybe. We need 5 of these. 4, 5. And then we need a belt with biomass. Did I forget about the biomass? No. Sort of. Maybe. I might have a little bit. Biomass. Wrong biomass. How many stacks do we want? I think we want 50 stacks. Yeah, sure. Filter on biomass. Out to here. And then comes across these. That's 9 into 4.5, so 2 each. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Boom, 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 boom. Subcritical water. What all is subcritical water even used for? It's used in Paragen, depolymerized organics, deluxe cotton gut food, but only in the turd recipe, and nitrous oxide. Okay. So I don't feel the need to do anything different right now for subcritical. But we could always put subcritical water on the trains as well. Pressure pump, that makes 250 a second. So get that hooked up. And then we need a big reformer. I'll just put right next to these. To make the depoly. And this guy goes down and in the manure. Let me just make sure this isn't too far. Yeah, the manure is up here. I kind of want to do a splitter type situation. Is that silly? No, we'll just do a. We do need an overflow or some sort of one-way valve. I'll do an overflow on 50. Meaning, the reason for this is what we don't want is what happened before. I forget with which resource, but basically, a train came to pick up. In this case, it would be liquid manure, but then a bunch of it got used for depolymerized organics when the train was on the way. Then we didn't have the 25,000 that the train thought it was getting. So you always need to make sure there's at least a one-way if you're processing a fluid that's also going into a train stop. Otherwise you can get into issues, which we did have just that exact problem. So let's try to not have that problem anymore. I mean, the water's here, so why don't we just use that water? Because it's 1-to-1, right? Yeah. So there's plenty of water here. And then power. A lamp. And that should feed subcritical water. Subcritical water is going into the polyorganics as well as liquid manure. And then that's going to be over here. And then we need to wire it in. Don't worry, I didn't forget. I know you were like, I bet he forgot, but he didn't. He didn't! For the first time ever. Alright, and that should be it. I mean, we do need to deal with rich no, we don't. Well, we kind of do. I just realized we actually do need a splitter here. Otherwise, they're gonna get jammed up. If manure production were to stop, we could end up with rich clay. It's going to be an extremely tiny amount to the point where I'm just going to do this, or maybe I'll just do this. I need to let logistics bots do a little bit of work. You know, this is such an extremely tiny amount of rich clay that we should ever see here. Because the whole point of this is that we get rid of manure at a specific rate so that we never see rich clay. So we shouldn't ever see rich clay in here. We did the math on it. Should work. And we're stopping manure at 3,600. And then we're gonna need a RoboPort to make sure that's in range. And now the liquid manure's working, and that'll build up over time. Okay, and we need one more thing, which is to make... How do we measure this? Okay. We need... We need this, but only active if liquid manure is below a certain number. If liquid manure is below 40,000. And I picked 40,000 because that's over the halfway mark, which means we've also got liquid manure flowing to depolymerized organics. So if we're up to 40,000, that means our manure stockpile is doing okay and we can slow down on the production of it. I think that's actually a good way to do it. And this also prioritizes the ones coming from recycling properly as well. So I think I'm happy with that. And are we done? Minus the fluorospilinin recycling? I think we are. Flora's not making it all the way to the end, so I've done something wrong here, but... Otherwise we should be okay. Didn't I make a blueprint for this? We did. So this needs to be... How do I make this more compact? I mean, for starters, this can scooch over to here. And this can scooch in like that. And then I'm just trying to figure out what's the best way to do this. Can move that there. Those are connected like that. If we want the boiler, which I usually do, to be part of this, to get rid of the stuff, we need water connection for that too. So we'll do the exhaust pipe. We'll do that connected. And then we'll say the pipe with the floor splinin, or the belt with the floor splinin comes in. This is biomass. And this is biomass. We can reprocess pretty quick here. I can always add more inserters, but that's floor splinin. And then we need an output. That's perfect. That powers everything. And then we need the output inserter on Flora. So this is kind of the blueprint that we want for floor splin and reprocessing. I've done this often enough. I really should have made this blueprint a long time ago. And then we just need to hook in the input belt and hook in the output belt. Okay. So then I want to move this like right here. Okay, so there's the input belt. And then the output belt, we need to priority merge over here. And it should be on the right side, so I will need to do something like this. Input priority left. And do we need to care if it gets jammed up? Like, should I put a chest on one of these? I feel like this one should have a chest and a loader. Let's make that the main blueprint. Okay. And that way that stuff can stockpile up if it needs to. That should be it. Okay, and now we just need to figure out what's going on with the other end of these. Oh yeah, moss got on the wrong side, I guess. Oh, that's gonna take a minute to clear out, isn't it? Well, we will have to... is this one wrong too? Bet it is. Wow, that's a lot of moss. Did I switch the side that the moss was on without realizing? I must have. I don't think I did that on purpose. Wait. Did I? Something looks very wrong here. That's very bad. Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. Oh boy. Okay, new plan. New plan. We're gonna have to just use some loaders here until it all looks correct. And then I'll just manually ferry it back to the chest over here. Goodness. That was a big flub. And then, let's see, input priority right, or input priority right. I mean, you put the flora like in there or something. Okay. Goodness. Let's grab the rest of this. Still not good. This is the problem with long belts, man. You mess it up and it lasts forever. Wait, why has this got biomass on it now? Oh, I see. That's funny. Well, that's fine. It'll just burn it up. I'm okay with wasting a little biomass. Oh, this is ridiculous. Okay. Guessing it's cleansed itself by now? Is that true? No? We're still not to the moss stage here. Goodness. Okay, it looks like... Gotta be close. Looks like this one's the moss stage. And these ones maybe? Okay. Well, let's chill there for a minute. Put back all our crap. Okay, I think we're good. Mistakes were made. Whoa! Almost blew that thing up. Okay. All is well. Ish. I get rid of all this extra flora though. Cool. Now, why is this one not running? Still a lack of moss. Is that because we don't have any, or it's just taking a while to propagate? Just taking a while. Okay, I think we're fine. And we're already building up a bunch of augs. Manure, compost, aug. Water barrels. Do we have empty barrels? No, I think we got rid of all those. I believe we're now good to go. And now it's just a matter of this box emptying out, which is going to take a minute because it's not stacking. I guess that's a problem. Here, let's get stuff stacked. And that'll help it empty out faster. Okay. Cool. Augs done. And subcritical water / manure is done. So rebuilding Vraux is kind of the last thing on the list. I would like to deconstruct this stack inserter once this chest is empty. Hey, 100,000 Pi Science packs. Nice. Very nice. Alright, and then barrel-wise, how are we looking? The barrel buffer is perfect. Actually. Okay, yeah, we've got plenty of flora. It just is gonna take a while to propagate. And yeah, for those of you in the comments that are gonna be like, you can restrict the inserter to not insert too much flora. It's true, but also, do I want to wire every single inserter to every single building separately? That's so many circuit conditions. I think I'd rather just deal with some flora spoilage than do all of that. And liquid manure is taking a while to fill up. Now, I think, did we already have... No, that's manure bacteria. Did I already have liquid manure somewhere else? No. Depolymerized organics I do, but I'll be able to turn that off for once and for all. Once this is running. That's coming from here. And it's right there, yeah. So I should station priority 1 on that. So that gets used up. And then I guess I'm actually ready to turn it off. Which involves what? Just cutting the cord here? Yes? Yeah? That should do it. We got algs and manure flowing quite nicely. Oh, the last thing I need to do is turn off the flora belt. That's right. Based on conditions. So we need to get measuring of this chest and depolymerized organics. In this chest. I'm gonna measure it all. Wait, why am I measuring this one? That one's not necessary. Okay. And then we need to decide if we have... Let's see, how do I want to do this? This belt stops. If red is 0. So we're sending a stop signal. And we stop if... What combination of things is true? I mean, this one's just based on AUG count. That's all this does. So as soon as AUGs is... How many stacks? 144? AUG stack 2, that's only... Yeah, okay. I can just let that fill naturally. And we'll just turn off this belt if green wire, just directly, if AUG is less than 1500. Oh, this is so annoying. Hold on. Is this gonna do a weird thing where it doesn't consume all the flora, but it does consume all the moss? Okay, I don't... man, that's so obnoxious. I guess what I could do is stack the moss? Because it consumes twice as much flora as moss, but flora is stacked 3 times as densely as moss. So we're still going to end up with flora spoiling on the end just because we didn't have enough moss buffered. And there's no easy way to make this work. We could split it and then recombine it, but that's annoying. So stacking the moss would suffice. The whole thing only uses 6 moss a second. Okay, yeah, I'm willing to spend a stack inserter on this nonsense. So stacking the moss should enable this to work properly. So what we'll do is we'll just do a stack inserter here, filtered on moss. And yeah, that's definitely 6 a second. Because remember, that's triple stacked moss. So it's filling about half the belt, which means that's about 10 items a second. When that says 6 a second, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4. I think that's actually 6 stacks a second. I think that's actually 18 a second. Anyway, definitely enough. Okay, anyway, that means this will now work properly. Because we consume twice as much flora as moss, that means there will be enough moss on the belt that when we stop the belt, all the flora to the very end will get consumed by this one. Well, it'll get consumed up to this point, and then this will all spoil. That's not too bad. Cool. So that one's set up, and then this one needs to be set up to be like, if liquid manure or manure and depolymerized organics can only be low if liquid manure is low because we have the overflow. So we stop if liquid manure is high and this is high. So if that's over 50,000 and manure's over 3,600, it'll chill out, and then the manure here will again not have a restriction. And then eventually manure will drop below 3,600, everything will kick on again. It'll be a cyclical, you know, it'll come in waves, which is fine. It'll take a while to spin up, but then we won't waste as much flora if the whole thing doesn't need a run, and if manure is staying below 3,600, then it'll just keep running constantly. So I think that... Okay, we stop if that and that. We could also have a green signal if it, you know, you invert it, and then you do or, and you do less thans, and then do a green signal. That works too. But anyway, this one will have the stop signal if red is 1 or is 0, then you are enabled. Cool. All right, well that took longer than I thought it would to finish this whole setup, but I think we're good now. I think we are good. Liquid manures filling up. Have I screwed up the... Hold on. Because some of the manure is getting past this inserter. I feel like this maybe needs to be a fast inserter. And then very little of the manure gets past it, which means most of our manure, literally almost all of our manure, will go to liquid until we have enough liquid. At which point we switch to only getting the wasted manure. Maybe that should be 50,000. And then when it gets to 50,000, that's when this one switches off, right? Yeah. And then we are going to need an overflow on liquid manure, I just realized. Can I compost that? That feels weird. You can't compost liquid manure? Of all the things. That's really interesting. The Zogna's a pretty expensive part of this, so I don't really think it's worth saying we send all extra liquid manure to urea. If I had extra liquid manure and I had extra Zogna bacteria, but when are we gonna have extra Zogna bacteria? So I think we'll just sinkhole anything over 90%. In here. Shouldn't happen very often, but if this is idle for a long time and liquid manure is not getting requested, it could happen. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay, so on to batteries. Batteries. Our old battery build was for 0.15. Let's build for... I don't even know. Also multiple recipes. When do I get the next one? I2 Science unlocks 3 other recipes. So that's within grasp. They all need rayon. Let me look at the various options here. Product. Not that one. I think it's these 3. So... let's just go with 1. And we'll do this 25... no, we'll do 4, and that's 25, 33.3... 50, and then they all kind of make the same amount. Can I just do 1/3 or 100/3? I can. Perfect. We can see it all put next to each other this way. Oh, I can't change the order though. Okay, so Lantimony wise, this one uses double. Rayon is also very expensive. Trying to get a grasp on the cost here. These don't need cyanic. This one needs pyrite. A little bit of sulfuric. This one needs no sulfuric, but it needs sulfur. And this one needs more sulfuric and more lantimony and more rayon, but it doesn't really need much else. I feel like this one's a bad idea. This one needs 10 sodium hydroxide though, which is kind of a lot for one battery. So, and this one needs pyrite, which is kind of, I don't even know when I can make pyrite. Oh, and that needs sulfur anyway. So, weirdly enough, this one on the bottom is looking like the best, but it needs more lantimony and more rayon. And rayon is... Let's do 100 thirds. Rayon is a lot of stuff. Ammonia, carbonyl sulfide, which is more sulfur. Coal and propene, which is the lead and syngas one, that's right. Interesting. Also sodium carbonate. There's coke limestone and sodium sulfate. And we're talking a decent amount, you know, 2 constant high pressure furnaces to supply the rayon for this one. Ooh, this is tricky. So do I go with the cheaper rayon one after all? And just say screw it on the hydroxide cost? The sulfur cost, I'm not too worried about. That can just come from a sulfur mine. You know, it's not that crazy. And how much sulfuric acid do we get from a sulfur? Again. This one. 1 sulfur is 15 acid gas, which then goes down to 7.5. So that's only about 1.5 sulfur a second. That's about 2 sulfur a second. But the more rayon is another sulfur. So really this one is like, even though it's more sulfur, it's less sulfur because of the rayon. I think this one might be the best, but the hydroxide cost might be too much. That is a lot of saline water. We have some slaked lime, it helps, but interesting. It almost feels like we should swap between these two. When we have excess hydroxide, use this one, and when we don't, use this one. That could be an option. It's 10 per battery. It feels like a lot. I mean, there's only 2 ways to make sodium hydroxide in the entire game. But slaked lime... I mean, look at this. We've been averaging... What is that? 30 a second? For the last 10 hours? So... when you look at it that way... and we're maxed out at 50 a second here. So... and we only need 15... no, wait, that's not right. We would use that whole 50 a second, but then that gets us... or it requires a lot less salt and a lot less power. So we do get a lot of free hydroxide from that. Yeah, so I like my idea of requesting byproduct hydroxide. And then the question becomes which one of the other two to use in the event that we don't have the hydroxide. This one costs twice as much antimony. And more rayon. And more sulfuric. This one costs a little bit of coke. We're gonna call that free. You know, 1 coke to 1 battery is not really much at all. Relatively. We can easily make 60 coke a second, you know. So I'm not worried about that. So then the question is the pyrite. The pyrite, I assume we're only gonna have this. Those look like byproduct pyrites. I'm assuming this is the recipe. And it comes with the same research. No, it actually doesn't. Oh, weird. It's another way to make acid gas? Surely it's... Yeah, that's a bad way to make acid gas. Anyway, yeah, that's just more sulfur and then iron oxide. The only problem is we're not making iron oxide on purpose. So we don't have a great way yet. Oh, that's a lot of rock wool. A lot of chlorine. Is there some other way to make iron oxide that I don't know about? Not yet. There will be with nitrobenzene. Yeah, that will be the way to do it. When do I get that? We're literally already capable of it. Okay. So that seems like the play long term for batteries. I think that's the play. Oof. That's a lot of stages though, because we need the nitrobenzene. We need benzene. Nitrobenzene is used in a few places, so we would want nitrobenzene to be available to trains. Benzene, we would want to be available to trains. We can just make benzene with BTX. I guess that's not too bad. We'll just start with that version. Eventually we can turn excess tailings into free benzene as well. There's even aromatics to benzene, but that needs Nexalit as well. There's the tall oil version. I was also just reminded, I know this is so random, but it's a little tangent. Someone had left a YouTube comment, let me pull it up, about something that was busted somewhere. A non-filtered inserter in my ash disposal situation. Let me find that comment. They said... the coal dust issue at the byproduct ash processing plant is a non-filtered outserter from the southmost coal dust burner. Coal dust burner. We talking down here? A non-filtered outserter from the southmost coal dust burner. Wait, coal dust burner. Coal dust burner? Or are we talking about this? Aha! That is a problem. It'll put coal dust onto the ash recycling belt, and then we'll end up with coal dust back in here. Nice. Nice catch. Rhea Tess, thank you very much for that one. And then there was another issue, let's see, that tactical fruit spotted. I was trying to find it last episode or a few episodes ago and I missed it. I think the idea was that mechanical inserters aren't fast enough here, or something like that. But is that even true? I don't think that's quite true. 0.725, they're actually just fast enough. As far as I can tell, they are fast enough. Gosh. But... no, I guess this is all fine. Yeah, I think that actually works out. The new build needed yellow inserters for the insert rates. I don't think that's quite true. It's very close. 0.725 is very close, but I think they should be fine, and they'll definitely be fine as soon as we get that research done, which I might actually delay. Oops. I might actually delay, and we might take a step back and get some of these old researches done first. Chromium processing. Let's do some of these non-Pi2 researches real quick, because we're gonna need them. Okay, anyway, back to our batteries build. So we're gonna need nitro. The question that I need to answer before any of this is, should I just build this one now to have more batteries now? It's a very reasonable question. We also have better ratio here already. Well, at least I think we do. The molten lead, what's the ratio on that? Yeah, it's roughly a better ratio. Because 50 is about 25 plates, but it's actually more than that because of the bonus. Anyway, because we could just request all these things. So, wait a second, hold on. Someone made a comment about my new circuit build that I thought was really funny. We're making melamine resin here when I already am making an absurd amount of melamine resin right here. Sometimes Krydax is not the most brainiac of brainiacs. So let's go fix that real quick, make our circuit build a little simpler. And yeah, the question is, do I just build a stopgap battery facility that just requests these and uses bots or something? I think the answer is yes. I already have cyanic on trains, so this is literally just a requester with like, what, 3 chemical plants I think we'll start with. Anyway, this is all unnecessary. What I need to do is just put melamine resin 40 on each of these. Take this out. Gosh, I can't believe I did this. We're gonna delete the formaldehyde request. We're gonna delete the melamine request because it doesn't do anything else, I think. Urea and melamine gone. But now we need to switch to melamine resin. I just can't believe this. And then I will attempt to deliver those back to their home. Some of them, at least. Cut down on a little bit of waste. Ooh, look at how fast that got researched. Zinc processing improved. Alright. Anyway, yeah, let's... I don't even know why I'm sitting on a train. We're gonna have to be done with the episode soon, but let's open up some new processing space. I'm thinking this block has some spots we need to utilize, and let's get some rails built here. And yeah, for now I'm just gonna do something super basic and probably request just these ingredients. So we just need iron, graphite, zinc, antimony, glass, melamine, bolts. We'll make batteries, put them right back on. Cyanic as a fluid. Oh, so we need one fluid requester. Right here. Cyanic. I just don't know if we have the ability to do all of those other things. And instead we can just easily... What is it? Chemical plant? Yep, that one. I might even do weak side here. Heck, I might even do weak side here. The closer they can be, the better. And that'll be a channel 1 roboport. And we'll just request enough to make batteries right here. I will need... What's that? I don't have a title for it. This thing. Whatever that is, we're gonna need that. My inserter controller. And then numbers wise, yeah, we can do equal parts of everything. The antimony is the one I'm a bit worried about, but we do need one per battery. Uh-oh. Am I not loading it in anywhere? Shoot. Yeah, we're not loading it in anywhere. We probably stopped it. Did we never even bring it to trains? Where's it going right now? It goes... Wow, I already lost it. It goes to here. Wait, does it just stop? Am I only moving lantimony on... I think it just stops right there. What's happening? Oh, this stupid guy. I can't... I wish I could see underneath him. I don't see it on any belts out here. I'm also confused though, because it shows that as a straight belt. Oh, and then we're side loading the... Okay, I see. So lantimony does stop right there. Interesting. So I guess this would be a good spot to make lantimony the new way, bring molten lead down, and then we can just not pipe. We can belt lantimony over to maybe this multi-provider. Or this one. Wait, where am I making silver for? Oh, I forgot I'm making silver. Yeah, just straight up. Anyway. Yeah, why don't we plan for that? Okay. So we'll pop over there. I'm gonna switch... What? Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna switch one of them to the new recipe. Do I need both? We'll see how fast it is. Wow. Traffic. That was a lot of traffic. How's my power doing? We're doing okay. I'm holding off on placing 10 more whatchamahoozits because it's just gonna get worse if I do. Anyway, molten lead we can just pipe down pretty easily. So did I? Our byproduct tailings, which we've got lots of. Just pointing that out. Just pointing that out. Anyway, we've got lots of lead here. LOL, lots of lead. And then we will bring that over and down. Okay. Bring that over and down. And then along here. Okay, and then all we have to do is switch that over. That's super easy. We should switch over Duralumin too. Perfect, that does get us to the full 1 a second. And then... I will rotate that one to match this one. And there we go. Okay, there is way more antimony. And it's less antimony oxide used. As far as I know, this is only for batteries. So the 1 a second is actually perfect. I actually don't need more buildings, weirdly enough. How did a piece of lead get onto this belt? Oh, I changed the recipe. That's how. So then we need to turn this belt around. Turn the beat around. And I need to be done with this episode. This has been a great episode, but we're over an hour now, as usual, so... Bring this over. The lights are flashing. Whoa. Let's turn this bad boy on for a minute. What happened to my power needs recently? The centrifuges have gone nuts. What is the centrifuge doing all of a sudden? Did we just request honey or something? Uh-oh. This also looks wrong. What has happened here? How have these buildings ever been enabled? If they're seeing... Okay, well that's super confusing. Looks like I'm out of rock food. Anyway, this makes no sense to me. What has happened here? Why are these completely jammed up when they're set to only be enabled if we have less than, and we are reading the whole belt? Oh, I'm guessing, yep, that's what it is. I forgot we added more buildings at some point. We just didn't hook those up. There we go. Okay, well that problem's fixed for the future. And other than that, it's Vrauk food, which is the problem. Oh, gosh. Okay, hold on. I need to write some of this stuff down. So what was the thing I was just about to fix? Antimony on trains. And then the next thing that we might need to fix is Vrauk food. Let's see how that's doing. Wait, we have Vrauk food. Oh, we just have some other problem then. Is this a RoboPort issue? Channel 1. I must have deleted an extra RoboPort at some point and completely disabled Vrauks. I'm glad we caught it. What that doesn't do is explain why centrifuges are spiking so much. Where's my other centrifuge? There's only 2 in the whole base. I actually want not those, but entity. Can't remember. Oh, it's the, is it the milk? No. It's albumin. Finally triggered artificial blood. Okay. So we're gonna have to slow this one down with some accumulators, I think. I don't want it to run freely. That's just too much power. My base can't handle it. Deal with albumin centrifuge. I'll put that on my to-do list for the next episode. And the last thing I would like to do... How close is the bot to building that? Oh, he's all the way up here. That's a bummer. Okay, set arcad Vrauk food RoboPort to channel 1. Alright, well, we've got a good to-do list for next episode. As always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next one.